Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. If you're a true Lions fan, or just someone who loves the NFL draft season drama, you're in the right place, because what we're diving into today might just give us the clearest window yet into how the Detroit Lions are thinking heading into one of the most pivotal drafts in recent franchise history. So what exactly did Brad Holmes say this week that has fans buzzing, analysts speculating, and the entire NFC North watching with sharp eyes? Let's just say, it's not what everyone expected. In a rare and revealing pre-draft media session Thursday morning, Lions GM Brad Holmes pulled back the curtain, just slightly, on what the team is really thinking as the draft rapidly approaches. And while he didn't reveal exact picks or drop any blockbuster hints, what he did say, and how he said it, has left fans with more questions than answers. We're going to unpack all of that. Every quote, every angle, every possible implication. Because this isn't just about who the Lions might draft. This is about how they plan to build a Super Bowl contending roster in 2025 and beyond. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might just have a completely new perspective on what's really going on behind the scenes in Allen Park. Let's start with perhaps the biggest philosophical statement Holmes made, and it's one that could reshape expectations for Lions fans hoping for that final piece in this year's draft. When asked about balancing roster needs versus selecting the best player available, Holmes didn't hesitate. He made it clear, Detroit will not be drafting for need. We're not going to reach for players just to fill a position, Holmes said confidently. That's just not what we do. Now, that might sound like standard GM speak, but think about what that really means in practice. The Lions won't necessarily target a cornerback in round one, even if that's what fans or mock drafts think is the biggest hole. They won't grab a wide receiver just because Jameson Williams hasn't fully broken out yet. Holmes and his team are locked into their board, their philosophy, and their identity. But could that commitment to best player available lead to a surprise selection? Could it even open the door to a trade down? We're going to get to that. But first, let's talk about something that's been bugging a lot of fans lately. Some critics, and yes, even some within the Lions fan base, have questioned Holmes' past picks of developmental players. You know, the type guys with raw athleticism, but who might need a year or two to fully contribute. And with Detroit now firmly in Super Bowl contention mode, the margin for those kinds of experiments seems to be shrinking. Holmes didn't dodge the topic. In fact, he doubled down. There's nothing wrong with drafting a developmental guy, Holmes explained. But it has to be the right guy. Because with where our roster is now, it's going to be harder and harder for those players to make the 53. So let's pause here and unpack that. Is this a signal that the Lions are going all in on NFL-ready talent? Or is Holmes simply warning fans not to expect instant impact from every pick? Could this also be a subtle message to players already on the bubble, guys who were drafted 2 years ago and haven't made a leap? Is the pressure now on them to prove they belong? And speaking of pressure, there's one room in particular that's been under the microscope lately. Wide receiver. We know Amon-Ra St. Brown is elite. We know Sam Laporta is a monster out of the tight end position. But beyond that, there's youth. There's potential. But there are also question marks. So it was especially telling when Holmes made this comment. We're happy with the guys we have, but obviously it would be great to get younger. Younger? That's interesting. Because the Lions are already pretty young in that room. So what exactly is Holmes saying? Could this mean the Lions are eyeing a day 2 receiver? Or maybe even a mid-round speedster to replace Khalif Raymond's role long-term? Or dare we say, could they shock everyone and grab a WR in the first round? Remember, Holmes pointed out that wide receiver is one of the deepest positions in every draft class. So if the Lions are patient and smart, could they find this year's Amon-Ra in the 4th round again? But here's where things get even more intriguing. Holmes talked about how the team approaches visits. Yes, those pre-draft top 30 visits. Some teams, like the Rams and Jaguars, have stopped doing them. They're just relying on film, data analytics. But not the Lions. Holmes was clear, those visits still matter. It's a chance to dig deeper, he said. To understand the human, not just the athlete. Now that is a major insight. Because it tells us something crucial about Detroit's draft process. Culture still matters. Character still matters. The Dan Campbell DNA we've talked about for 3 years, it's not going away. So while analysts might drool over combined metrics and 40 times, the Lions are looking for something more intangible. leadership, resilience, fit. Could this mean that some high upside but risky players, guys with red flags or attitude questions, are already off the Lions board? Possibly. And that could drastically alter how the top of their draft shakes out. But let's now get to the most curious part of Holmes' comments, his thoughts on the edge class this year. When asked directly about pass rushers, Holmes didn't just give a vague answer. He gave a strategy. It's a solid group. Could even be deep enough to allow for a trade back, he hinted. A trade back? From Brad Holmes? That's rare. But think about it. If Detroit is sitting at a spot where a top corner is gone, the top tackle is gone, and there's still a cluster of solid edge guys available, could Holmes pull the trigger on a trade down to collect more picks? We've seen him do it before. And this year, with depth in key positions and fewer roster spots open, it might make more sense than ever. So let me ask you this. Is Brad Holmes setting the stage for a quiet draft day or one full of fireworks? Now, here's where it all comes together. Holmes wrapped up his media session with a surprisingly honest comment about the fans, about us. He used a movie analogy, asking why we're all so obsessed with spoilers. Just enjoy the show, he said. Why do fans want to know everything ahead of time? And hey, maybe he has a point. Maybe this draft, this journey, is part of the fun. But you and I both know the mystery is what makes it irresistible. And we'll be watching every single pick. But what do you think about all of this? Do you trust Brad Holmes to stick to his plan, even if it means passing on need picks? Do you think the Lions should prioritize day one contributors? Or are you open to more development projects with big upside? Personally, I'm torn. I love what Holmes and Campbell have built. But we're this close to a Super Bowl. I want players who can step in now and make an impact. Still, if anyone's earned our trust, it's this front office. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a real Lions Nation discussion going. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. We've got daily videos, exclusive analysis, and the kind of Detroit Lions coverage you won't get anywhere else. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Lions!